Welcome back to the Muzzle Blast Podcast, the official podcast of the National Muzzleloading Rifle Association. This week we're talking with Ian Egbert. Ian is the admin of the Blackpowder Cartridge Rifle Silhouette Shooters Association Facebook page. It's a Facebook page set up for Blackpowder cartridge and long-range Blackpowder muzzleloader shooters, stretching from, their close silhouettes at 25 yards all the way out to 500 yards, and then even farther out to 1,000 and out to 1,200 yards with Blackpowder. Ian's been traveling to a lot of shoots this year and posting a lot of photos online. And it's been great to see what he's been able to do and what he's doing to push Blackpowder muzzleloaders to their limit. So we're having him on today to hear about that more. I might sound a little funny this week. I've been fighting a sinus infection, so I'm going to let Ian do most of the talking here tonight. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll catch you at the end of the show.
My name is Ian Egbert. I am from Portsmouth, Ohio. I got my first rifle when I was 14, which was a Thompson Center Hawken. I've been into Blackpowder muzzleloaders and Blackpowder cartridge rifles ever since then. About 12 years ago, 15 years ago, I got a trapdoor, my first Blackpowder cartridge rifle, and I've been really interested in Blackpowder cartridge stuff since then. Kind of got on the internet and found a local silhouette club and started shooting out there, and I've been involved with it pretty heavily for that long.
And what got you interested in the Blackpowder cartridge?
Like I said, I walked into a gun store. I had a Pedersoli Sharps, and I shot smokeless powder out of it, but I walked into a gun store and seen a trapdoor, and I ended up buying it and started researching on it and reading some books on them, and ended up loading Blackpowder cartridges for it. And that was the very first time I loaded Blackpowder cartridges for anything. And I've always shot Blackpowder out of muzzleloaders up until then. And I thought that was awesome to shoot 500 grain bullets out of a breech loader like that with 70 grains of black powder. And like I said, I kind of started looking around, did some digging, and found a club that shot them about an hour from my house in Ashland, Kentucky. And when I found out they were shooting 500 meters out there, I thought, well, that's something I got to do. I got to try that. And I was hooked the first time I tried it.
Well, it's hard to beat that. I mean, I think once you start shooting anything Blackpowder and muzzleloading, especially you start shooting out to that distance, I mean, that's a big deal.
It's a lot of fits. It was, up until then, the only shooting matches I'd ever attended were patch round ball guns. Mm-hmm. And that was around the same time I started getting to NSSA, what they call North-South Skirmish Association stuff too. And we only shot 50 and 100 yards there.
Yeah.
But it was really interesting to see how long it actually takes a bullet to go that far.
So how long does it take, just for people who aren't familiar with it?
To get to 1,000, it takes about, I believe the flight time is about 3.6 seconds, somewhere in there. And so when you're laying down on the cross sticks and you fire the rifle, the people in the pits pull the target down. So It takes the bullet so long to get down there, you think it missed. And just when you're ready to hear a miss, the target starts to come down. And then you take it's like a sigh of relief.
Yeah. That's one of my favorite parts about shooting or hearing shots at Friendship, even out to 500 yards, is there's still a little bit of a delay there.
There is a delay.
And that's kind of where everybody's holding their breath and looking and waiting, and then you hear that report back. Even with the more modern inline stuff that we've been shooting with the Blackhorn, I mean, they're fast.
It still takes some time to get down there.
Yeah.
I have to fight the urge when I'm shooting silhouettes, I have to fight the urge to watch the animal fall.
Uh-huh.
What you want to do is you want to hear it. You got to hear it hit instead of trying to watch it fall. It's something I'm always struggling with.
So why do you want to listen for it over watching for it?
Because if you come off the rifle too soon, you're not following through properly.
Ah, okay.
So you just want to follow through and listen for that bullet to strike the animal.
Okay. So if you start looking for it, you're worried that you're going to begin to anticipate it.
I do. If I come off the rifle too soon, it's usually a miss high.
Ah, okay. I didn't even think about that, but that's smart.
Any small detail will show up big time. You start shooting distances like that.
Oh, yeah, definitely. This podcast is brought to you by Thor Bullets. Thor Bullets are a premium full-bore muzzleloader bullet designed specifically for modern inline rifles. Thor Bullets do not require plastic sabots or belts to be fired, meaning less cleaning for you between shots. The patented copper base creates an airtight seal, giving you greater distance and accuracy. Thor's unique engineering allows the bullets to retain 95% of their weight upon impact, and the controlled expansion ensures large, easy-to-follow blood trails. Thor bullets are currently available in a 50 caliber version that is sized to your specific bore. Thor is also expanding into a new 45 caliber bullet designed for faster 1 in 24 and 1 in 22 twist inline rifles. For more information on these great bullets, visit www.thorbullets.com. We'd like to thank Thor Bullets for their sponsorship of this podcast. So you started about 14 years ago, you got into Blackpowder cartridge. And then before
which
then,
I'd been shooting Blackpowder long before then. But
right.
That was the first time I started putting Blackpowder inside of brass cases.
And so going back to when you were 14, were you hunting with muzzleloaders, or were you, going out and camping and shooting kind of distant?
I did a little bit of hunting. I really just enjoyed shooting.
Uh-huh.
I wanted to get around. There's a local club not far from where I live, about a half hour from my house, called the Daniel Boone Muzzleloading Rifle Club. And I would go out there every once in a while and shoot round ball guns, and then got a couple flintlocks after that. And then I joined the service and took a hiatus from that. But when I got back, I started getting back into the muzzleloaders.
Well, thank you for your service.
Well, no problem. But I just got into that stuff, and Blackpowder's always been something I've been into as early as I can remember, anyways.
Yeah.
Went to a battlefield in Perryville, Kentucky, and there were some guys that had a Civil War gun display. I think I was 8 or 9 years old, and to see something about those Civil War muskets fascinated me. And it's been something I've been into ever since.
Well, that's great to hear. I mean, that really that's a great example of how demonstrations and reenactments can get people involved in this sport and hobby. That's great to hear. So when you're going out shooting now, you've been doing this much longer than when you first got your Blackpowder cartridge rifle. What's your go-to gear and gun for going to shoot a match somewhere?
It depends on the type of match I'm shooting, and if I want to shoot scope or irons.
Okay.
I've wanted to I've got a C-Sharps high wall I've been shooting most of the year this year. And I was wanting to eventually get it set up as a dedicated scope rifle, although I shoot irons most of the time.
Okay.
My Shiloh is probably my most comfortable rifle. And then I've got a CPA that I would like to eventually use it for backup for irons, and then I can it'll shoot irons or scope. I've got it set up to do both, which I do the high wall too, I guess. But I don't, as far as having a favorite gun or a go-to rifle this year, I have to say it's my high wall, but they kind of alternate year to year.
Does it just alternate based on what you're just kind of feeling or what you're comfortable with?
Yeah, maybe. Sometimes I'll shoot one rifle better than the other, it seems like. I don't know why that is. But I've been into the high wall this season. I'll probably end up shooting finishing the season out with that. Then next year I'll probably focus more on the CPA.
Okay. How many matches are you traveling to? On Facebook, it really seems like you get out quite a bit.
I try to. I really do. I can ask my wife. She'll tell you all about it. But I travel. I go down to Georgia at least once a year. I've been twice a year, once. I go to Friendship as often as I can, which isn't as often as I'd like. I go to Alma, Michigan, Pennsylvania, whenever they shoot, McDonald, Pennsylvania.
Man.
And that's just the silhouette stuff. And then we got Atterbury, Indiana for the long range. And then they canceled it this year, but Oak Ridge, I'll start going to there every year. A really great match that Rick Weber puts on. Oh,
yeah. That's the Creedmoor 150, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. I'm hoping we can do that one next year.
I'm sure we will.
So can we talk a little bit about the powder and the bullets? I'm not too familiar with the Blackpowder cartridge and the reloading process. I mean, I know a little bit about reloading modern stuff, but I haven't delved into the Blackpowder cartridge. What kind of powder are you using? Are you casting your own bullets, and what mold?
Yeah. I cast. I couldn't afford. I don't even know if you could probably buy these, but I don't know if I could afford to pay someone to do it for me. But I'm shooting different bullets than what most people are. There's some doing it, but I'm shooting a paper patch bullet, which is more of a traditional route. But they're They're a bore diameter bullet, not groove. This confuses a lot of people, but they're actually bore diameter bullet. Okay. So the 4570 bore is 450 typically, 451. These bullets, you could load them like you would a muzzleloader, and then they bump up like a muzzleloader bullet would.
Okay.
But I'm loading them in a cartridge. So, and another big misconception is that they have to be pure lead in order to bump up, which I'm shooting an alloy that's 14 pounds of pure lead and 1 pound of tin. And that's an original alloy that the Sharps Rifle Company, one of their alloys that they used, I think they used a 12-to-1 and a 14-to-1 back in the 1870s and 80s for their Creedmoor rifles.
Okay.
But they do that. We make them hard like that to control the bump up, because otherwise you can get what's known as nose slump, and the pointed nose will just crumple up, and it won't be round or pointed anymore. It'll just be more like a wad cutter if it's too soft.
Okay. And that ruins the aerodynamics?
Oh, yeah. It'll mess up a lot of things. It could also lead to leading real bad to get bump up past your batch. But the powder I'm using is Swiss. There's two kinds of Swiss powders I've tried and I've liked. Both of them. It's just the 1.5. And then I've been using Deer Creek products where I try to get my powder. They didn't have 1.5, so I ended up buying 2F, which I hadn't used before. And I think it's shooting better than the 1.5 was. So I bought it. So I'm going to maybe just start using the Swiss 2F from now on. So I use 81 grains of that in a 4570 case, which is the 70 case is 2.1 inches long. I'm basically pouring 81 grains, a weight charge of 81 grains through a drop tube into the case at a 12-second count. And that brings the powder right up to the very top of the case. And then I'll use a 60 thousandths thick poly wad to seat the compress the powder with. I'm pushing the wad about 80 thousandths of an inch below the mouth of the case. Huh. So my bullet's just barely seated in the case.
Yeah.
And I do that so I can cram as much powder as I can in the case.
Okay.
So I can basically shoot my 4570 like a 4590. So I'll use that load for my laydown animals or my long distance targets, which it has quite a bit of recoil. The bullet weighs 540 grains.
Wow.
They're going 1,330 feet a second out of a 32-inch barrel. A little slower at the 30-inch barrels. But for offhand shooting, which at silhouette, we shoot the chickens at 200 meters offhand. I have another bullet that I use that weighs 450 grains, but it is a groove diameter bullet. It's a 458 diameter bullet. So I have to seat it deep in the case.
Oh, okay.
And I only use 50 grains of powder for it. And it recoils a lot less.
Yeah.
So it's a much more mild load to shoot offhand, because those heavy loads were teaching me how to flinch real quick.
Yeah. Because then you don't want that at all on those chickens.
No. They're hard enough as it is.
I think watching the regional when it came down to everybody shooting the chickens, I mean, that was rough. I think.
Yeah, it is rough.
Getting 3 or 4 people were feeling pretty good.
Yeah. Chickens for me can be I never know how I can feel good about it and walk away with one. And then another time I can feel like I don't think I'm going to do very good and have 6 hits on them. So it's like a one-handled faucet. If I turn it on, it's either going to be hot or cold, and I won't know until I turn it on. Yeah.
After watching that, I've got a little air gun range in my backyard, and I've been trying to shoot my air rifle offhand at a chicken at about 25 yards just to try to get after seeing that stuff. It was kind of like, ooh,
That's good practice. Any kind of shooting like that. I've got some reduced chicken targets, and I want to start shooting off at 100 yards and my range that's close to my house. That's the plan for this winter, so I can I'd like to be a little more consistent with them.
Yeah. And so you're going out and you're shooting at a lot of these matches. Are you practicing a lot in between, or is going to the matches kind of
If I'm not at a match, I'm shooting. I'm at the range at least one day a week.
Oh, wow.
I'm either practicing or just shooting, trying a few different things here and there, tweaking things, or just getting behind a rifle and trying to keep squeezing the trigger.
Yeah. And are you practicing with the same loads that you're shooting with then, or do you have okay? Yeah,
we have the range in Kentucky. We have practice days And whenever we have a practice day, I'm usually up there on a Saturday or a Friday, setting up targets and shooting at silhouettes. And if we don't have the practice range open, then I'm at the 200-yard range shooting at paper targets, which are the same targets we use for long range, just circular target rifle targets.
Yeah.
So if I don't have a match, I like to try to shoot as often as I can.
Yeah. Well, that's great. I think that's what we all try to do, but it sounds like you really get it done.
I try. I just enjoy it. I really enjoy all aspects of it. The casting can be a drag, but I enjoy loading them, enjoy shooting them and cleaning them. All of it's really fun to me, I think.
Yeah, I think if you're into muzzleloading or black powder in any way, you have to appreciate that process.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you get into it a little bit. I know I enjoy it.
And look for something you actually look forward to.
Yeah,
especially at a match. At a skirmish, it's fun sitting around when we're done shooting, cooking dinner and cleaning our muskets and revolvers or whatever, or sharps rifles or whatever we shot that day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a sense of camaraderie and bonding there, especially.
Absolutely, there
matches. For a limited time, you can enter to win a 15-pack of Thor bullets. That's a $30 to $34 value. Visit thorbullets.com/NMLRA to fill out the form and enter to win. So you just got back from the 1,200-yard match at Atterbury. What's it like to shoot black powder at those distances? I think when it comes to hunting and things, a lot of people think that 100 yards is really pushing a muzzleloader and pushing black powder, but 1,200 yards, that's a big deal.
1,200 yards, that was the first time I'd shot past 1,000. 1,000 was hard enough, but 1,200 yards, every little puff of wind, every mirage shift, it really, really starts to show up down there.
Yeah.
The drop on them is insane. Typically to go up from 100 yards, you're looking at 10 or 11 minutes, somewhere in there. To go from 1,000 to 1,100 yards, I went up 20 minutes, and then I went up 21 minutes to go from 1,100 to 1,200 yards.
Wow.
And we had a lot of wind on Sunday. It was pretty daggone breezy. I think some of that was from that hurricane that went just south of us.
Yeah.
But it was really, really blowing the bullets around. I had to put 23 minutes, it was right, I believe, or left. 23 minutes left, windage in my sight, which means I was aiming 23 feet to the left of the target to actually hit it.
Wow.
So they get blown around quite a bit.
Huh. So when you're putting those minutes in, are you looking at the target and still centered on the target, or are you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, my sights are centered on the target, but the barrel is
pointed off. Wow.
Pointed off. So if you were to do the math, it would have been pointed 23 feet to the left of the target.
Wow.
If you were to draw a straight line from the barrel to the target.
Yeah. And the wind is pushing at that 23 feet in its travel time.
That much.
Wow.
And the travel time at 1,000 is 3.6 seconds. So I'm going to assume that the travel time to 1,200 was probably close to 4, maybe a little better than 4 seconds.
Jeez. And you're shooting that prone off of cross sticks then?
Yes. Yeah. And I hear people say all the time that they didn't think a 45-70 or a black powder rifle would go that far. But if you ever work the pits down at those ranges at 1,000 and 1,200 yards, and you can hear the bullets coming through, and they still have a lot of power.
Oh, I bet.
And it sounds wicked down there. You'll hear the shot first, and then the bullet will come hit the target or go over your head or whatever. But they're still going pretty fast.
Yeah, you're still shooting that 540, 550 grain bullet, aren't you?
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's a lot of lead to go down range.
It is a lot of lead, and they don't slow down very fast.
No, they don't.
Which they're going pretty slow by the time they get there, but they've still got a lot of power.
Yeah. Do you have any estimation on how fast they're moving or how hard they're hitting? Have there been any tests on that?
I know they're coming out of the muzzle. Mine are coming out of the muzzle at 1330. I think they're going to be around 800 by the time they get down there, but I'm not 100% sure on that.
Wow.
For anybody who's listening who has access to a JBM ballistics calculator, I've estimated some of my bullets to be have a ballistic coefficient of around 400. So if you could take 1,300 feet a second and enter that ballistic coefficient of 400, then you could find out about how fast they'd be going at that distance.
Okay. I think that's a little too advanced for me at the moment. But that's awesome. I've got the pictures set up here on my computer of the match and some of the videos too. And it's just neat. It's neat seeing the black powder smoke. And then, where you guys are laying down on the line with the cross sticks, you just start to see flags going off in the distance. And there's just little specks on the horizon that are the targets.
Yeah, they are. And that's an interesting type of shoot too, because that's a historic. Back in the day, they really shot those distances, 1,000, 800, 900, out to some of them went out to 1,200 yards. And then you tell people that they shoot muzzleloaders at that distance, and they're just blown away. Ken Heisman let me shoot his muzzleloader twice up there. It was a Ferris rifle that Lee Shaver had built. And I can now say that I've shot it twice, and I can say I did not have any misses with a muzzleloader at 1,200 yards.
Wow.
So his rifle was dialed in and working pretty good.
That is something else. I've got to set up and try that. I think there's a couple black powder cartridge guns in the family. I'm going to have to start digging out.
You need to. It's a lot of fun. I can't believe that more people don't know about it or haven't tried it. It's a lot of fun. Most people really enjoy it once they start doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. Once they kind of get that, people call it the black powder smile.
Yeah. That's a good way to describe it.
The first time they take a shot, and then they're hooked.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's neat about black powder cartridge is there's a negative connotation when it comes to muzzleloaders on cleaning and maintenance, and it takes too long to load and this and that. When you get in the black powder cartridge, it's a little faster. You still have the
cleaning,
cases.
I think is the cleaning is a lot quicker. Although I've never found cleaning muzzleloaders to be that bad.
Yeah.
But cleaning a black powder cartridge rifle is easy peasy. Just a few wet patches, some dry patches, and oil it when you're done. The cases can be tricky, but if you have a wet tumbler or there's another one that they're using, a ultrasonic cleaner. If you have an ultrasonic cleaner or a wet tumbler, it makes cleaning cases real easy. I have a tumbler with ceramic media, so I'll punch the primers out at the range, drop the fired case into a bottle of water, and then when I get home, I'll put them in my tumbler for 3 hours, and then they come out good as new.
Huh.
The insides of the primer pocket are clean, and the inside of the case is clean.
And they're ready to be reused.
They're ready to be reused. And most people would be shooting grease groove ammo. So once they're clean and dry, they'll go through and reprime all their cases just like you would with a modern modern shell, and then you charge your case. Which this is where it differs a little bit. I'm getting ahead of myself. Most people don't actually resize their cases at all. Where in modern cases, you got to have some kind of neck tension or something to keep the bullet from sliding around. Whenever you fill the case up with black powder and you compress it with a wad, the bullet will sit right on top of that wad. And once you chamber it, there's no danger of it going deeper into the case because it's just sitting on top of that compressed black powder.
Yeah, there's nowhere for it to go.
A lot of people are not even, there's nowhere for it to go. A lot of people are shooting them with just thumb seated. So if you wanted to get by with loading black powder cartridges, you take your fire-formed case, find a way to get the spent primer out of it, then you clean it, you reprime it, you pour your powder in, then you have to have a way to compress it. Now, once you compress it, then you can just hand seat your bullets into the cases and you're ready to go.
Uh-huh.
So pretty easy.
Yeah. And it's not all that different than modern, high power cartridge shooting stuff. It's a little slower, but.
Yeah, you can't shoot as fast, I guess.
Yeah.
One at a time. Yeah. Unless you're shooting a lever gun, I guess. But that's a different animal.
Yeah. That opens up a whole other beast.
Yeah.
There's a cowboy action shooting range near my house that I've never shot in, but I'll go there and watch sometimes, and that's That's just nuts how fast those guys get.
Yeah, that's something I've considered if I had time. I don't. But it's something I would like to do. I'd love to shoot one of those in Blackpowder. I wouldn't worry about how fast I was. I just like to shoot. I'd like to just make a big cloud of smoke.
Yeah, just pa pa pa.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like you have a whole lot of time on your hands, so you can definitely add another discipline and another set of guns and reloading supplies.
All my wife would really appreciate that. Although I think she would enjoy cowboy. I think she would enjoy cowboy action shooting. Yeah,
does she enjoy it? Does she shoot herself? I mean, she's sharing a lot of photos and videos of you guys at shoots and matches.
She enjoys going to the shoots and doing that stuff. We do 22 silhouettes, and she'll shoot that.
Okay.
But she used to do skirmishing with me, but she got tired of standing out in the heat and getting dirty.
Yeah.
So she just watches now. But she enjoys going out to the range and shooting. She likes shooting Blackpowder guns, but she doesn't want to compete.
Yeah.
And that's fine. I understand it's not for everybody.
Yeah. On that note, what do you enjoy the most about these shooting matches and competitions you're going to? I mean, you're going to a lot of different matches. I mean, is it kind of taxing on your brain? Because a lot of people, when it comes to competition, they kind of shy away from it.
The thing I enjoy most about it probably is the people. I look forward to going and seeing old friends and meeting new friends. And I really enjoy just competing of it. A lot of people, I like to look at the scoreboard. A lot of people tell me not to do that, but I can't help it. I love watching the tight races, and I love knowing when it's coming down to the wire. I love the pressure. Yeah. I love it. That's what drives me, I guess. And I love watching the scores and seeing how things are playing out. If I'm not doing so good, I like trying to come up with a plan of how a path to victory, or what do I need to work on? How do I tighten up?
Yeah. What do you need to do to improve? And
how can we make the next relay better? I love the competitive aspect of it. Yeah. And I like the friendly competitive aspect of it. There's nobody's doing any cutthroat stuff. I've never ever seen that at any Blackpowder match. And the fact of the matter is, most Blackpowder matches, these included, people bend over backwards to help you, even if it's going to cost them the match.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know how many times just in the last couple of years of filming a ton of matches and competitions and things, how many times I've seen somebody stop what they're doing to go help somebody. And I don't know. I think even myself, I can kind of psych myself out, even when I'm going just to film something, worried that I'm not going to do as good of a job as I want to. But there's always people around willing to help and make that happen. It's such a friendly environment, even though you're all there because of a match and a competition trying to do better than the other guy or do better than yourself previously. But there's so much friendship and camaraderie. It's just,
there is.
I've never been to a match.
People, shooting is only half of it.
Yeah.
You're only seeing half of it. There's so much more that happens when the shooting's over, just having a good time, laughing. And then these people that you shoot with all summer for so many years, they start to become your second family, and you look forward to seeing them and talking to them. And you talk to them in the off season sometimes, or sometimes I've got my shooting partner Neil Eddington. I'm sure everybody knows who he is.
Yeah,
I'll go to his house sometimes in the wintertime, hang out with him or whatever. Yeah, that's probably my favorite part of this is just the people.
Yeah,
such good people in all of this.
Yeah, you can't. I don't care what hobby you're into. You cannot top Blackpowder.
I don't think you can. I really don't think you can.
They're great people all around. So when you head into, we're in October. We're in the middle of October now. I just had to check my watch to make sure. What do you do to kind of stay spry and stay into it over the winter?
Keep going to shoots.
You're putting on a winter jacket and Carhartts and heading out there and shooting.
Yeah, I didn't do it last year because of the COVID or last season, but they have in Ypsilanti, Michigan.
Oh, gosh.
They have shoots called Blackpowder Through the Ages. I'll try to get there twice a year, which is just offhand stuff at 50 and 100 yards. Then there's another club that shoots down in Miami, Ohio, which I haven't been into any of their shoots yet, but I'm hoping to this year. they shoot mid-range matches all winter long.
Okay.
And then we used to have a guy that shot, and used to have smoothbore matches near Dayton, Ohio, but they got closed down. We'd shoot them all winter long.
Wow.
In the in the winter when it's cold out or whatever.
Yeah.
But and if that's none of that's going on, I just go out to the range. I still try to get out to the range in the winter months. Although I don't do it as often, I'll admit.
Yeah.
I do a lot of bullet casting at that time, but I still try to go out at least once a month and shoot something. Unless there's so much snow on the ground I can't get out.
Yeah.
All the ranges I go to are up a hill, so once it snows, I'm pretty much shut down.
Uh-huh.
But if like I said, last year due to COVID, they didn't have as many off-season shoots as they used to. But
yeah,
hopefully they'll pick up this year.
I think so. I think this week the Indiana started opening back up even more. I think we're at their stage 5 now, and it's hopefully it kind of turns around. We can have a normal year next year.
Yes,
I could really use a normal year.
Yeah, I think we all can.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of my friends that are a little further out west, some of them haven't been able to shoot much at all this year.
Man.
It went from having absolutely no shoots, and then in May, I run the silhouette matches in Kentucky near Ashland.
Mm-hmm.
And in May, we just decided that we're just going to start having shoots again.
Yeah.
And ever since then, it's just started taking off. And we've had shoots. We've been to a lot of shoots since then. May and June were pretty busy. August was busy. It started to calm down a little bit in September and October. I've got one more match, a one-day match in Kentucky at the end of this month on Saturday the 24th. And then I head down to, then we're going to Gettysburg after that and for a weekend.
Oh, nice.
And then I'm going from Gettysburg to Dawsonville, Georgia for their big regional. They have a 4-day shoot down there in Dawsonville. And that'll be my last match of the season.
Uh-huh. So I have to ask, are you sponsored or anything, or is this just your own personal drive to just get out there and shoot better?
No sponsor. I just enjoy it.
That's wonderful.
Something I can't get enough of.
Yeah.
When I first started shooting North-South Skirmish Association, there's a guy named Dominic Fuente that was on our team, and first thing he told me was, "This will get in your blood."
Yeah.
And he was right. It really has.
I love hearing that.
All of it's pretty much got into all the Blackpowder stuff has that I do.
Do you shoot any modern firearms, or is it all traditional stuff? I
do a little bit. Every now and then I'll go through a phase where I'll take out a couple handguns and shoot them.
Yep.
I went through a little phase in March, I think. I just started loading up my smokeless stuff and started shooting it. But once the matches started back up, I quit. I put all them to the side.
Put them back in a box.
Yeah.
Time to get the real toys out.
Yeah, exactly. The real guns come out to play. Yeah, I've never had, they don't have much an appeal to me.
Yeah.
That's the old stuff.
They're neat. I mean, modern firearms are neat. I've got a few, but it's just, there's so much history with everything kind of pre-1900 that you don't have in the modern stuff. I mean, it's neat. It's nice. I like shooting it, but man, you get into pre-1900 and you're just gold for me. It's just... Yeah,
that's where I like to live. I'm more fascinated with that area probably in the 1840s up to the 1890s.
Yeah.
In that area in firearms. When the Industrial Revolution started taking hold on the guns and what they were able to come with, some of the designs they came up with. And that time is fascinating to me.
Oh yeah, I mean that's when
how they solved some of the problems. There's some brilliant people back then.
I mean they looked at everything, and that's when they were finally able to kind of figure out the science and the math behind it and take what we knew worked just from experience is how I look at it, and then actually apply engineering to it and then take it forward. And I'm right there with you. It's just a fascinating time period. What power scope are you using?
Right. The scope I have is an 8-power scope.
Okay.
MVA makes scopes for this game, and they make them in 3 different powers. They make them in 6, 8, and 10 power.
Okay.
A lot of people I really like, and the MVA just came out with a 10 power not that long ago. I believe Stan Reed won one at the regional shoot you guys had.
Uh-huh.
But a lot of people like that 10 power scope because they say you can start to read the mirage with that higher magnification scope.
Okay.
Which with my scope, it has to be pretty. I have a DZ arm scope, and it has to be pretty heavy mirage for me to be able to see it.
Okay.
But I don't shoot scope a whole lot. I think I'm 39. I was born in 81. Does that mean I'm 39? 38, 39.
Okay. I can't
Mine
do
are
math.
still pretty. Yeah, I can't either. Mine are still pretty good.
Yeah.
So I shoot scope on occasion, but right now typically I'm just shooting irons.
Yeah. I'm only 27, so I'm always joking with my dad and some of my older buddies at the range that I've still got good eyes on them.
Yeah. It helps.
Yeah.
It really helps.
Yeah, it does. I mean, that's neat. I mean, 8 power, I think, in terms of modern shooting, a lot of people are going to hear that and think, it's not a whole lot. I mean, some of the modern inline guys, I mean, I think they're shooting upwards to 20 and 24 power.
Yeah.
If my understanding is correct on it. I mean, from there.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're right.
They just say you just see the breast of the chicken. You don't even see the whole chicken.
Yeah.
You just know that you're on it. And
yeah, and to me, that would be difficult.
Yeah.
It'd be hard. With an 8 power scope, you lay down on the sticks and you can tell right away if your position's good or not. 'Cause you'll see a little bit of wobble here or there. And especially offhand. When you shoot offhand with a scope, it seems like the chicken is just there, then it's gone. Then it's gone. I couldn't imagine trying to shoot it with a 24 or 32 power scope.
Yeah, that'd just be nuts.
But maybe they say that about us. I don't know.
Right, yeah.
But you can still, the scope really, the 8 power and the 10 power scopes, they just allow you to see the animal better than if you were shooting an irons sight. And a lot of people are surprised when you go to a match, there's a lot of iron, the iron and scope scores are really close, and a lot of times your iron scores will be, the winner, the match winner will a lot of times be an iron shooter.
Really?
So, yeah, which is kind of surprising sometimes.
Yeah, you'd think it'd be the other way around.
Right.
Do you have any theories as to why that is?
Well, honestly, I don't, because it doesn't really make any sense.
Yeah.
Other than I really don't know. Jim Dietland won that had the highest score up there at your regional in August, and he was shooting iron scope or iron sights.
Yeah. Huh.
And I think he's in his late 50s, early 60s.
Oh wow, he's a real trooper.
Yeah, he's a good shot. He's got good eyes, apparently.
Yeah. Well, I won't keep you any longer, Ian. I really appreciate you coming on and spending the time with me. I always joke with people that I always feel more energized about muzzleloading and black powder and any facet of it after I do one of these talks and one of these interviews with somebody, because I love hearing about it. I mean, no matter what it is, if you were making knives out in the woods or if you're shooting the modern inline stuff, the whole range gets me going. And this was kind of an area.
Yeah, it's all fascinating. I think it's all fascinating. What the inline guys are doing out there is what they're able to do with those rifles, I think, is pretty neat.
Yeah, it's
what the accuracy they can get out of them things is incredible. Yeah, I think
it's kind of I joke that those guys have the race guns of muzzleloading.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. That's a real good way of saying it, I'd say.
Because they're out there on the front end trying to engineer their way out of everything.
Yeah.
Talking with Jeff Fisk for any amount of time really gets my brain going, because he's figuring out stuff that I didn't know needed to be figured out.
Yeah, I've seen some of the groups, Bob Wetzler pictures that he puts on there, and it's like, gone.
Yeah.
These guys are animals.
Yeah. They're just beasts out there. Well, I appreciate it. Anytime you want to come on and talk about this stuff, you just let me know. I'd love to hear about it.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay. Thank you very much, Ian. I really appreciate it.
Alrighty, thanks a lot.
Once again, we'd like to thank Ian for coming on the show tonight. It was a really interesting conversation, and now I'm going to have to go beg my wife to let me get a Blackpowder cartridge rifle because it sounds like a lot of fun. After seeing him shoot in the regional, that the shooting bug kind of got into me there, and now it just seems like another great and fun thing to start shooting. So that's really neat, Ian. I appreciate you coming on, and looking forward to hearing more and seeing more of you shooting. I think if we all shot as much as Ian does, we'd have a lot more fun. As we head into winter, I know it's common for a lot of us, including myself, to spend that time kind of retooling, maybe getting something new, adding a new piece of kit to what we carry around all the time to shoots or to rendezvous or to camps or anything. If you're looking for something new this year, please check out the list of our sponsors and commercial row vendors in the show notes. It's been a really rough year for a lot of these mom and pop businesses without any of the large shows that have been planned for decades. These people rely on those shows, and COVID-19 really threw us for a loop and took that earning potential away from these small family-owned businesses. So if you're looking for something new this year, especially as we head into the holiday season, please consider shopping small with some of the NMLRA vendors and advertisers. I know that they would really appreciate it, and we would really appreciate it if you helped keep them going through this rough time. We'd also like to thank podcast sponsor Thor Bullets. Thor Bullets has been really generous and really gracious with us this year sponsoring the podcast. We're really excited to be working with them. So if you're shooting a modern inline muzzleloader this year for your hunting season, please check out Thor Bullets. Pick up a couple packs, test them out, see what you think. I know you're going to like them, and I'm sure it's going to be able to take down whatever you're hunting this year. Hunting season is in full swing just about everywhere in the country on some kind of animal, some kind of game right now. So if you have a neat muzzleloader hunting story, please reach out and get in touch with us. We'd love to have you on the show and hear your muzzleloader hunting experience. That's all I've got, folks. As always, if you'd like to support the show, please visit nmlra.org/join to become a member. Podcast listeners, use the code podcast10 at the NMLRA store at nmlra.org. We'll have a link down in the description. That's going to get you 10% off of any piece of NMLRA merchandise. This includes our shirts, books, hats, just about anything in the store, and it lets us know that you came from the podcast. We'd really appreciate your support. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll catch you next time.